Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to E PsyhC Radio. Tonight we have a guest named Kim Hogan, who's been a returning veteran guest to Truth Radio for a long time. From the Coalition radio stations to, well, very much right here on E PsyhC, where we're starting a whole new era. We've had E PsyhC, the 5 series, which is the previous series you've heard. And now we've gone from E PsyhC to E PsyhC Radio. Why? Because I'm sick and tired of doing videos. And now that I'm sick and tired of doing videos, I'm not going to annoy you with any of my previous intros. In fact, how do you like this? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to after the intro. That was brief, huh? Thank goodness. At least it wasn't one of my more annoying long intros, as well as my rambling, tambling videos from Babylon Hell. Nevertheless, I am about to introduce to you, well, hey Kim, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, well let me shut up and you can talk.
All right, feel free to ask any questions you'd like to. I appreciate you having me on. It's been quite a while since I have done a show. I think it's been a little over a year. But I just wanted to update our listeners. I thought I was near the finish line with getting a settlement with this Aspire Lending Company. And evidently, we're still playing games. I did have a lawyer that was helping me. He wrote a notice and demand letter, and the response was quite interesting. Evidently, Aspire Lending does not have their old corporate attorney anymore. In fact, I don't believe they even have a corporate attorney anymore. I've come to learn they have quite a few other cases against them. Hearing more and more all the time of other people. Just this last, probably I would say 6 months, I've heard of about 5 or 6 other cases with people being screwed over by this company.
Well, the name Aspire Lending actually sounds like a kind of company that wants to stick a kick me sign on your back and say, trust us! They actually sound like that with a name like Aspire Lending. I don't know, maybe it's me.
It's pretty crazy. They're little, their little promise and all this stuff, and,
Trust in God! Sorry, that had nothing to do with God. It was them, but, So.
Yeah, on my wall on Facebook, and I believe I posted it in the thread of the ad for tonight's show on your wall, there's a good paragraph there of, how, they take pride in, their company and making the loan process, for buying a home easy and a positive experience. I forget, I don't have it in front of me to read word for word. If any of the listeners would like to see their false advertisement, it is on your page, it is on my page. In fact, I've changed my wallpaper and my profile picture.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hardcore. My truck is a mobile billboard right now.
Kim Hogan, T.I.
That's another thing real quick. If listeners would like to help out, I would really appreciate people to mobile billboard their vehicles and send me the pictures. And they can can use the same example that I have on my page of what I wrote on my truck, which basically says, Aspire lending, deceptive trade practices, fraud, see ripoffreport.com.
Wow.
They're also on the BBB. But it's just surprising, you know. The first thing I did after they screwed me over, pulled the rug out from under me, I didn't just lose one home out from these guys. It was 2 homes. My home in Colorado, I would have never sold if I had ever seen this coming. You know, in fact, I didn't want to sell it to begin with. We were originally looking at seeing if I had enough income to support 2 mortgages, and I was going to keep the Colorado home as a rental property, you know, and then come move down here and close on the home in Texas, and then the rent money I would have made off of the Colorado home would have paid both house notes. So they looked at all my income, determined I didn't quite make enough to support 2 mortgages, and suggested that if I intend to come to Texas, I'm going to have to sell my Colorado home and in order to get their mortgage. And I sat on that for a month deciding, do I really want to do this? And my home, let's see, I got approved for the mortgage in late January, early February, approved for the pre-qualification after they reviewed all of my sources of income, including child support. And then it wasn't until the beginning of March I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and list my house and put it up for sale, and I got a buyer right away. In fact, it was one of the first 2 or 3 showings, the person that bought my home. And so we packed up and moved down here second week of April, back down to Texas, and found a home, and we're set to close on it. It was like not even a whole week before closing when I got the phone call from them that they screwed up and that we weren't going to be able to do the mortgage. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I said, I don't have a home now. I don't have a home office. I've always worked out of my home. And I'm a massage therapist, Reiki master teacher. I'm also ordained. And so now my income has really struggled with this because I'm having to split my income now. I'm working at a facility. I've never worked for a facility before, a spa or anything like that. I always worked out of my home because I have my own spinal injuries and can't really lug a table around. I do very rarely. I have a little girl that I work on that's paralyzed, having a lot of success with her, and she's about the only one I lug my table for now. But yeah, so my income, half my income, you know, it's split because I'm working at an establishment where, you know, you've got to split your money, you know, from the massages with the, you know, the establishment. Right. So I had in the beginning, you know, I started filing a lot of complaints. I filed a complaint with Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the BDB, Rip-Off Report, it's on there. I also filed a complaint with the Texas Department of Mortgage and Lending. They did a complete, thorough investigation, and they found Aspire Lending at fault. They fined the leasing or the lending agent, and she got fired. You know, and the fine that they got fined, you know, that doesn't go to my daughter and I. You know, that goes to the entity, you know, the Texas Department of Mortgage and Lending. So we got zero restitution. And I'm not sure what all listeners have pulled it up on YouTube, but I also recorded the vice president. At the time, he was the vice president of Aspire Lending. He's no longer with them. His name is Stephen Barton. But anyway, I recorded him because in Texas you can legally record a conversation as long as you're one party to that conversation. And in this recording, he states 5 times, he admits they made a big mistake and how sorry he was. And at the end of that conversation of the recording, he was supposed to get a hold of me that following Monday with a written resolution offer to make everyone happy, not just me, but everyone that was involved in this, because, the seller was pissed, the realtors were pissed, everybody was livid over it.
Well, if he said that, then why aren't they doing anything? Why has nothing happened?
That's what I would like to know. And
that's the $1 million question with 2 homes and what's in your wallet, Capital One style.
Yeah, we definitely need to be restored at the bare minimum back to the way I was before this happened. I should be in a home with a home office. I should have, furniture again. I've had to part with probably 70% of my furniture and belongings because it just got to be too expensive paying for storage facilities for 4 years.
And Kim, if I may, I do just to refresh the listener's memory. I do recall meeting you on another broadcast during the Coalition years. I met you under my boss James and Pending originally. This has been going on since for how long? If you don't mind my asking.
Well, I got the call from Aspire Lending. I want to say it was June 14th of 2013. That they
and it's
made a
now,
big mistake.
and if you don't mind, the date is, again, now what is it today?
It was right around the second week, June 14th to the 17th. I believe it was the 17th I had recorded the conversation with Stephen Barton, their former vice president. And I believe it was the 14th of June that I received the phone call from the lending agent. She asked me, she's like, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "No." And she's like, "You might want to sit down." So I
was
went
this
out
2013 you're talking about? You're talking about 2013?
Yes, 2013. It was June of 2013.
Oh, I remember that month. So, wait, this was a different story for me, but wait, this was 2013 for you, and now it's 2017, and you're still fighting this from 2013?
Yeah.
Talk about fighting battles from a certain year. I know I fought my battles from that year, but oh my God, yours is a housing battle for you and your kid. Mine was a battle that I don't even want to remember, but oh my goodness. We're all fighting battles from that year. Why is that year so different for certain people? What's it about 2013 that we seem to be fighting battles from, some of us?
It's an excessive amount of time this has gone on, and you would have thought to make things right back in 2013, because as long as this is dragged on, it's costing them more money every day, because I fully intend to get a settlement, and I will not stop until I get a resolution in the settlement.
Well, for you, it was a housing battle. For me,
I will continue the mobile billboard campaign, radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some pretty high spenders that are
right.
to do billboards on the side of freeways in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. Yeah, we're about to, really, I'm living pissed at this point.
Put the lighthouse on them.
I've seriously struggled. It's another thing that's bizarre, is trying to get a lawyer.
Yeah, they're hard to come by.
A lawyer that I had met that agreed to write the notice and demand letter for me, and we sent that off, and the response from Aspire Lending's, I think they took the phone book and put it up on the wall and threw a dart at it to pick a lawyer. Because, of course, with the notice and demand letter, that comes with a certain length of time that they need to respond by.
Oh, my goodness.
They didn't have a corporate attorney anymore, and I've looked this lawyer up that they threw a dart at the phone book or whatever, however they picked this guy.
Oh, Kim. I'm telling you.
He was not their corporate attorney, and he's just some Joe Blow lawyer not a very good one either. Look him up and read about him and his cases. He's not a high-ranking, high-successful lawyer. But anyway, this guy wrote back, first sentence, which I can post that later on Facebook, his first sentence was, I'm not very familiar with Ms. Hogan and her case with us. And I'm like, how could he not be? If he was a corporate attorney, he would be very familiar with this, with how much, hot water's been going on.
They probably pulled him off the assembly line of Skynet just to make him unfit for your case. Well, anyway, let me just say something.
His response basically was that if
I want to help you out.
To seek justice for their self-admitted mistake, and they were found at fault by the entity that polices them, the Texas Department of Mortgage and Lending. But they threatened me that if I seek, a settlement and file a claim, that they are going to file a counterclaim of defamation. I have not defamed these motherfuckers. All I've done...
Be careful, you just called him a motherfucker.
So they want to scare me and use scare tactics for me to, I'm a scared little mouse, I better not file this claim and seek the justice, or they're going to file a counterclaim. I'm not afraid of that shit. I was born with I don't want to say a disability. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, I've been practicing Tourette's for many years, and I've kind of developed a not one fuck given attitude and no fear. I don't have fear. I mean, if they want to file a counterclaim, bring it on. Bring it on, because that's just going to make me go even more viral with this and their reputation.
I don't think that's Tourette's. I just think that's you just getting pissed. I don't think Tourette's has anything to do with it. I've seen people with Tourette's. They look like they're scared.
Yeah,
and on some scary shit.
It, but I've been seriously trying to develop it.
Why would you want it? I don't think you need it. I think you just said. I just think you just have this inside your. I think it's inside your mind to say, "I'm pissed," and that's all you got. You don't need the red pill, the blue pill of Tourette's. You just got it. It's there. You got it, Kim.
Language to be the most humorous shit on the planet, and I love it. It makes stuff like, the words are so expressive.
Oh yeah, I've seen it before.
Chucks just doesn't get it out.
Oh man, and people smacking themselves in the heads and stuff.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's not funny, but it is. I had a boss at a Walmart used to do stuff like that.
Mhm.
He used to go eat, and he'd walk into he'd walk into a room out of nowhere and just say chicken bones. And, the fuck, you wouldn't know what to think. You couldn't help but laugh at the guy. But yeah, but back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Where was I?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you.
They're threatening the counterclaim if I file a claim. And that was one of the latest things that I've heard from my lawyer, which I don't know where he's disappeared to or what's happened to him. It's kind of a mystery right now. I'm kind of concerned about him, honestly. But the latest my last correspondence with him was, he asked me if I would be willing to sign a non-disparagement agreement with a settlement from Aspire Lending. So we went from being threatened with a counterclaim for defamation if I file to now they're wanting to supposedly reason and come up with a settlement offer if I'm willing to sign a non-disparagement agreement. So I replied to my lawyer so he could reply to them that yes, I would be more than willing to sign a non-disparagement agreement as long as the settlement is the right amount to make me happy. And I'm not asking for an unreasonable, godly amount. I want actual damages, which at this point come out to, we're approaching about $200,000 or so. I don't know. I haven't done the math in a few months. But I think that also being that, for example, my daughter's sleeping on a floor her junior and senior year, and affecting, her grades and things like this. I believe that we deserve, what is it called? Not treble damages, punitive damages. And I don't think that's unreasonable.
Oh, 2 houses down, no place to live? No, that's definitely not unreasonable. In fact, I'm surprised you haven't done worse.
To sign a non-disparagement agreement, and I even told my lawyer I would help with the damage control of their reputation. If they give me an amount that makes me happy, I will sign their non-disparagement agreement, and I would even update the reports that I've made against them. I would do an update stating that, it may have taken a long time, but I'm very happy with the outcome. And in fact, I'm looking at using Aspire lending for my new mortgage. I would totally be willing to do that.
Make me homeless?
I've made that abundantly clear to Aspire lending.
I'm sorry, I do radio for a living. Make me homeless? I'll help with the damage control. I sure will. Kabam! Yeah, I sure as hell will.
And I'm going to continue. I've got a lot of people that follow me, not just in the United States. This whole story has gone global. I've done several petitions. I had hundreds of signatures. And not just signatures. A lot of these people wrote letters that were just livid about what the hell this has caused. We've almost had to part with our beloved pets over this. Trying to find places, to stay and live, with exotic birds, is not easy.
Nah.
So, yeah, it's been ridiculous.
Wow.
But yeah, so now, I have not heard back from my lawyer after I told him, yes, I would be willing to sign a non-disparagement agreement, with the right settlement offer that makes me happy we can make this all go away. And it's been crickets since then. I haven't heard a damn thing. I've written my lawyer several other occasions this month, have had no response. I looked at his page the other day, and it's written as past tense for where the firm he was working for. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he quit, got maybe possibly fired for trying to help me. I don't know. I feel I don't have exact proof that I may be targeted, but it's sure suspicious and kind of seems that way when I have attempted non-stop to get a lawyer to help me. I've attempted non-stop through the, mainstream media and radio and have been completely blackballed, zero response. And it's not like I only wrote these television stations and radio stations one time. I mean, this has been a continuous battle. When I'm not working and healing people every waking moment, I'm up late as shit at night. I'm up at a fairly decent hour in the morning, and I'm typing my fingers to the bone and sharing things and searching for help. And, I was so thankful when I finally got this one lawyer to even write a notice and demand letter for me with the head letter of a large, successful firm in Texas. I thought that would definitely get a resolution with this problem, but no, it's just, and then, I don't know, maybe my lawyer's being paid off. I've heard horror stories of lawyers being paid off by the other
Those stories you can believe from Law and Order. Those you can believe from Law and Order. Those actually do happen in real life.
Yeah, they'll write out statute of limitations,
Those are scripts you can believe in.
Yeah, I'm ready to file pro se. If I don't get, I'm closely monitoring my statute of limitation date, and I am ready to file my claim before that runs out. But, you know, I know that they don't want to go to court. They sure as shit don't want a jury trial. You know, it's just unbelievable that resolution settlement has not happened yet.
You had to do that while I was on air. Not you. I'm talking to Dog Wonder here. Sorry about that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying how surprised I am, you know, that you know, we're riding down to the wire here. I don't know if they just think I'm bluffing and that I'm not going to file a claim. I'm fully ready to file pro se if need be. I've been taking civics courses, law, you know. I've had people tell me, you should become a lawyer, you know. I don't want to be a lawyer. I'm a healer. You know, that's what I do. I heal people. I heal animals. That's where my passion is, that and music. But I just want to get on with my life. I'm tired of this shit that's gone on and dragged on far too long. But hey, if they want to pay me more money, if they want to ride this out till the very end and pay me an extra $100,000 with the mathematics adding up of damages, then, you know, that's fine too.
Wow. Yes, that's something. Well, I can tell you right now, man. That's a long time to be fighting one heck of a fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I came down here, you know, part of my reason for moving back to Texas was to be closer to handle another case. You know, I've got XTO Energy that has been pumping oil and gas and whatever else minerals on my family's land and never searched for the heirs and heiresses after my great uncle died. And, you know, a guy that was helping me, rest in peace, John Hunt, he was at the final stages of negotiating with XTO for our settlement with them, you know, because they've been pumping for years and haven't been paying my family. And I've got aerial photographs of oil spill on my land. But yeah, so that's part of the reason I wanted to get down here to Texas, to be a little closer to handle this case. And then, you know, after winning that case, hopefully, you know, I was hoping to be able to keep my home in Colorado with getting a second mortgage approved, but that didn't turn out.
Goodness.
But I wanted to be able to, you know, have that home, buy the home down here, and then after the settlement from XTO, keep both of those homes as a rental, and then go do my dream, which is to buy a ranch, and I want to have a healing ranch. I want to do Reiki Ranch, where I have horses that, you know, I can have kids that are autistic, disabled, you know, people and you know, adults and children come in and have healing sessions with the horses. And I wanted to do some dog rescue, not too many dogs, but the horses that I wanted to use for this Reiki Ranch plan, I wanted to, you know, adopt horses, that homeless horses, you know.
All of which that are American dreams. Zach De La Rocha, Rage Against the Machine. To think that we actually have soldiers that go overseas and die for shit like this.
Yeah.
It just baffles me. And who did you vote for last election? No one!
Right, I didn't.
Why the hell would I? You don't have the balls. Yeah, I do. They were giving to me through Obamacare 2013.
Yeah.
But I got my fight back in me.
There's just no way.
Thank you, Obama. Oh, God, it's like, I hear stories like this, and it's like, it brings the emotion, the drive back in me when I hear this. It's like, from the moment, it's like, I hear your story, it's like, it's just like, how do you manage? I mean, it must be the mom thing, because I know my mom could pull it off, but I don't know. What is it? What makes you?
Comedy and music have always helped with anything and everything in my life. And cussing, like I said earlier, I think that shit is hysterical. I love it. And
so much for Colossians 3:8. Just curse it out. Curse your sillies out.
It's so funny when people meet me because they think I'm this raging bitch.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, you are so opposite and nothing like who you portray yourself to be on your social medias. And I'm like, right. I mean, this is free press. This is, it's a character.
You're awesome. It's like just it's like this is what freedom was meant to be. So shut the fuck up and laugh your ass off. That's your persona. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the disclaimers are on my page. I don't have it all the time on there because I'm too busy, exposing XTO Energy and Aspire Lending. And I've got another, entity I'll be exposing here before too much longer also. I don't want to get into that, though.
All right. No problem.
But, yeah.
Gotta keep some of your energy left.
I'm not a big, huge Alex Jones person, anymore, but...
I remember when I tried to go to him, man. He changed the number for InfoWars because of me.
Been known by anyone other than people here locally in Austin, Texas. I actually worked for the guy. I did volunteer for Alex Jones, and...
What was he like? I gotta ask. What was he like?
Huh?
What was he like?
Well, pretty much what you see.
Oh, you mean he looks like he's having ulcers every time he speaks?
I'm surprised he's still alive, really.
He probably had several. He's probably having several secret heart transplants before he passes, like Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got one of those. He's probably got one of those arc reactors underneath his shirt, like Tony Stark.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
The only thing I can say is, even though I don't really support. I wouldn't say. I don't know. I am grateful still for the guy because there's a lot of people that are waking up and have woken up.
Yeah, I can say he did that for me, but nothing more.
Yeah, he was a big, and still is,
Yeah, he did that, but...
It's questionable to me whether, I've heard Carlisle Group is funding him now and all this stuff, but I think he's threatened. Honestly, I think he's threatened, and he got himself involved with those he shouldn't have, not knowing better at the time. Like, when I knew Alex and worked for him back before 9/11, I mean, he didn't even touch on Masonic stuff or anything. Like, he didn't know this shit, And then he went and infiltrated Bohemian Grove with Mike Hansen, who Mike Hansen I used to do Austin Police Watch with. We used to go film police corruption.
It's like, how did they find out about it? It still baffles me. That's supposed to be like the most secured place there is. And how did he just roll his fat ass in there? I have cousins, okay?
I think that just their appearance is probably what made it, not a problem for them to get in there because they don't look like, they look like them.
No. You see, that wouldn't work because, you see, they know who goes in there every time. That wouldn't make it happen.
My dad and my grandfather and uncle have attended. I'm firstborn female in over 100 years to an all 33rd degree Masonic bloodline.
Okay,
all my family are 33rd degree. I've got their hats, I've got their rings, their books, and all this shit.
Okay.
And this may be why I possibly could be a targeted individual. I don't know, but, that's one thing I've been passionate about. I was forced into Job's Daughters as a young girl, and just being intuitive, feeling the energy, and growing up in Masonic lodges every week, and my older brother forced into DMLA also. Those are the beginning stages of Eastern Star and the Masonic Order. The females start out in Job's Daughters or Rainbow Girls, and then they move on up to, Eastern Star. The boys, as teenagers, start out in DeMolay, and then they start moving on up in their degrees in the Masonic Order. But my brother and I, we really pulled some shit to get kicked out. I mean, we were shamed the family. It ended with us. With my dad's offspring is where it ended in our family. Now, my uncle, my dad's brother, he's a 33rd. His boys were put through DeMolay and became Masons. One of them, my two cousins, Gary, had committed suicide, so he's no longer with us. And I believe he did because he was also very intuitive and felt the negativity and learned and knew what it was really truly about. So he ended it all. But my cousin Greg, he's all in it. I don't know what degree he is now. I believe he's 32nd degree. And his boys are all, through the DeMolay. They're probably actually working on their lower degrees, maybe 3rd degree Masons now. I don't know.
I find what you say very interesting because when I first was getting awoken, before I got awoken Alex Jones, finding out what he was about in the beginning of 2013, I found out about Leonard Ulrich, and I looked up this movie called Secret Societies and Biblical Prophecy, and I looked up, and in this movie they tell you about George Bernard Shaw. Now, when my mom watched this documentary with me, she looked like she saw a ghost. Now, I'm like, Mom, why'd you get pale like that? Now, I knew I had Masons in my family earlier on. I just didn't know to what length and how much of an extent and what that meant. Now, my grandmother, my mother's mother, was a witch. I knew that. I knew I had an uncle who was a 33-degree Mason and went all the way to Scotland for the Scottish Rites. I knew that. I knew I had a KKK in my family. I knew that. And I'm like, Mom, how could that be how could they have gotten along? She said they did. I couldn't comprehend that as a kid, because I wasn't a racist. My grandmother, after my great-grandfather died, as soon as he passed away, she got involved with a black person, because in certain parts in that time, and even in after post-Woodstock culture, there were some areas, even in New York State, where that just was not accepted. Either way, didn't matter. My grandmother followed her heart. My great-grandfather was dead, and that was it. She did what she wanted. Now, she tells me, as we're watching this, they point out, Leonard Ulrich points out George Bernard Shaw and his role in the Illuminati. My mom sees his picture because she knows who he is. Now, I have Shaws in my family, but I don't know what that means to me, because there's Shaws all over. The Shaw brothers made the Kung Fu flicks. Okay, I don't know anything about this. I don't know if there's any connection or anything like that. I don't know anything about it. I know there's Shaw, there's Smiths, there's Shaws. I don't mean they're related to me. I come to find out that George Bernard Shaw is my ancestor. And I also come to find out that all of my great-grandfather knew, who passed away, that he was a great writer. And so when my mom saw him, she confirmed that I was related to him. A member of the Illuminati, only it was unbeknownst to my great-grandfather, and unbeknownst to her. So when she saw his picture and found out what he was about in this documentary, Secret Societies and Biblical Prophecy, and after I'd already seen this documentary so many times before I even decided that I was going to do this, because this was actually not before I decided I was going to do this, before I even decided I was going to look up Alex Jones, I had made up my mind that I was going to be an activist. Just because of this movie alone. It had nothing to do with Alex Jones right away, because I didn't find out who he was yet. I didn't even look him up yet. I didn't see him yet. I had seen him 3 years prior, but I thought he was full of it. But it wasn't until a few videos later I had seen him, and I thought that was my ticket to finding out what this guy was about. Because then I made up my mind, before that, after seeing that documentary, I'm going to be an activist. I'm going to figure out how this is going to be done. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Here, we're talking about this later, after 2013, and before June 2013, my fight began. Because it happened in June, my personal fight began. I've talked about that so many times. But it's not my time, it's your time. But I just want to give you a little brief summarization, and I had to fight in June as well. And mine's been continuing. So it just seems like, I don't believe in coincidences, obviously, but when you have a fight of your own, and I seem to have a June 2013 fight, I think it's quite awesome. And it all started because I found out this is what I have in my bloodline, but it's not the bloodline; it's the spirit within.
Right.
So I think that's really awesome to find that out about you.
Yeah. Yeah, my activism, I believe it started like knee-high to a grasshopper, you know, feeling the energy, you know, within my family, you know, that were involved in this stuff. You know, not so much my mom's side of the family, but my dad's side. Like, I just did not get along, and just, I mean, literally knee-high to a grasshopper, 4 or 5 years old, you know, just not feeling good vibes from my uncle, my grandfather. Yeah, very, very strange stuff. And I've always been pretty highly intuitive. So just picking up on energy and truth and things like that. Like the first activist letter, if you want to say, well, yes, letter. I mean, my first company I attacked, if you want to say that, was Procter & Gamble at the age of 11. You know, I confronted them on their luciferic stuff and surprisingly got a response from them admitting it that I was right, and I was floored. My grandmother on my mom's side kept a copy of the letter I had written them and their response. We still have it somewhere. I believe my mom has it. My grandmother held on to it for all those years because she was really, like, blown away and impressed by it. And who knows, But yeah, then after moving here to Austin, the first introductions I had, you know, really to the free press were a couple friends of mine. One guy's name is Jeff Contreras. He had a show here, you know, at Austin's public broadcasting, and it was called Therefore I Am. And then the other guy, Chris Athanas, had another show on Austin Public Access called Reality Expander. And they were all at the same, public access broadcasting. That's how I was introduced to Alex Jones and Mike Hansen, because they all, before Alex got all loaded and rich and everything and has his own studio now, that's where he was broadcast out of. And it was just only Austin Access TV, you know. So that's how I discovered Alex, was through watching, you know, first of all, you know, Therefore I Am and Reality Expander, and started going down to the station and would be there for live, you know, broadcast and go into their homes. They became friends and clients of mine. They got massage from me. The one guy, Chris Athanas, used to mass produce all of the films from their shows, even in InfoWars. And I would load up the back of my truck with tapes, the very first Alex Jones tapes, and we didn't even sell them. We just handed them out, gave them away. I've given away so many tapes, I can't even count that high. And then books. I used to hand out books. One that I used to hand out a lot was Fossilized Customs. Another one is Economic Solutions. I would just get cases of these books and go park in grocery store parking lots. My truck was a mobile billboard. I had InfoWars on there, CopVCIA.com. There was another one I used to mobile billboard. But people would be attracted to the mobile billboard, and they'd come up and ask me, what is this? What is this about? And I'm like, this is free press. This is, you know, your facts and truth, and people need to wake up, you know. And I would hand them these books, and then I moved up to Colorado right after 9/11 happened, and I did the same thing up there. I had the mobile billboard handing out books and recorded tapes, you know, of InfoWars and all that good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and then promoting Jack Herrera's film, Emperor of Hemp, I was introduced, to that film through, when I moved to Austin. It was so weird. All of this stuff all coalesced around the same time. Meeting the guys from Reality Expander and Therefore I Am and InfoWars. And then another neighbor had brought over this tape for me to watch. He was I believe he still is, a DJ here in Austin. And he lived in the same complex I lived in. And he was on his way to the station, and he had his live show to do. And he's like, you got to watch this tape. And I'm like, you got to hear this dream I just had that I woke up from. And we kept interrupting each other. He's telling me a little bit about this video, and I'm like, I kept interrupting him because this dream that I had was so powerful and so moving. And lo and behold, he gives me this tape. He leaves. He's got to go to work. He's like, you got to finish this tape today because I have to return it tonight. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I got to finish telling you my dream, so, call me when you get off work. And anyway, I put the tape in, and I watched it, and holy shit, the tape was all about exactly what I had just dreamt about, which was about how hemp, can save the planet and save the world because everything can be produced, from it, from, paper to clothing and fuel for our vehicles. I mean, just, all the uses for it, the medicinal uses and all this stuff, and how if you plant it everywhere, it can reoxygenate the planet because we're... I mean, just, all the uses for it, the medicinal uses.
Sorry about that.
So anyway, this film, I literally was crying watching this film because it was just so, bizarre that I just had this amazing, moving dream, and then watch this tape. It's exactly about what I dreamt about, how this plant can save the planet, because I'm an environmentalist, too. I love animals, I love nature, and, being aware of, the rainforest being chopped down, which is the lungs of our planet, and it cleans our air and all this stuff. And, I mean, look at how fast hemp grows. You plant a hemp plant, and it grows the size of a tree in one season. It takes a sapling or a pine tree, whatever, years to get that height of how high and tall and bushy a hemp plant can get in less than a year. And hemp doesn't deplete the soil. It improves the soil. And, so I'm thinking oxygenating, cleaning the air, this stuff needs to be legalized and planted everywhere because we got a lot of problems with our planet. And so I started promoting, after I watched that film, I promoted the crap out of it. I lost, so many hours of sleep, typing my fingers to the bone, contacting TV stations around the world, promoting this film. You've got to play this film. And the first place that I succeeded in getting to show the film was PBS in Denver. At the time I wasn't living in Denver. I was still here in Austin. And they showed the film, and they had never had such overwhelming positive response from anything in the history of Denver PBS. I got a personal phone call from the CEO, whatever, of PBS, tremendously thanking me for convincing them to show the film. And they told me that the overwhelming positive response was so positive that they even had changed the format for the rest of the week's programming to include an encore presentation. And a few weeks later, I get this beautiful invitation in the mail. I mean, it looked like a high-quality wedding, invitation, nice stationery. And it's from J&J Films and Jack Herrera, and they invited me, flew me out to L.A. To be their honored guest for the silver screening of Emperor Hemp at Universal Studios.
Mm.
So, yeah, I went out there and went to Universal Studios, met Jack, which wasn't the first time I'd met Jack. I met Jack years ago when I was a teenager living in Manhattan Beach, California. My older brother and I, being bad to the years that we were getting kicked out of Guy Millet and Job's Daughter, we used to buy our papers from Jack Herrera and Red, the smoke shop that they had in Seal Beach area. So, yeah, it was a trip. So, anyway, I did that and sat right next to Tommy Chong in the theater, and I was personally asked by Jack at the end of the whole day at Universal Studios. He asked me if I would cover for him in Amsterdam that year, because Jack had just, prior to this, had his stroke and still had pretty bad, verbal problems, speaking and things. So he asked me if I would represent him at the Hemp Cup in Amsterdam that year, and so I was really looking forward to that. I really wanted to, and I told him I would get back to him on it. And of course, my daughter Corinne was like 2 years old at the time, so I had to get it all okayed with her dad if he could watch her while I flew, across the pond to go do this. And unfortunately, he was not willing to bend and watch our daughter for us so that I could go attend, the Hemp Cup for Jack on his behalf. So I didn't get to do that, but yeah, it would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, all these things, all happened, the whole free press thing, lighting a fire back under my ass, getting, to be an activist, all with Jeff Contreras, Chris Avanis, and Alex Jones, and then Jack Herrera after seeing that film, and I've pretty much been nonstop ever since.
Wow.
And I would kind of like to get this Aspire Living and XTO stuff behind me so that I can continue on with that stuff. And so, I mean, here, look at Denver now. Denver, Colorado was the first state to legalize, and I really contribute that to that film, being shown and re-shown,
Totally.
Really woke up a lot of people. If you haven't seen it, it's a great film. And you can just see while you're watching this film the divine intervention that took place to make this happen and what's happening now.
Wow. Yeah, because, it's like, they try to say, weed's the gateway drug. Gateway to what? Gateway to what? Because I look at
It's all been made up in less than, the last 100 years,
The way I see it,
It's been around since the beginning of time. For me,
if I can say anything about weed,
right.
If it's the gateway to anything, it's the gateway to curing cancer.
It's the
So if it's going to do anything, it's going to help you.
gateway to health. I mean...
Yeah, gateway to health, not health. Yeah.
Yeah, in our blood. It's in our genetics. We're made up of it. In fact, they've come out now. They've determined that Alzheimer's, part of the problem of that is losing the cannabinoids out of your system. People used to eat this stuff, drink it, smoke it, ingest it.
Yeah, having your Wheaties used to mean you were having a salad, not eating your breakfast, but you know what? People want to perverse things.
The thing about it is it increases the myelin sheath around every cell in your body. It increases the mass of the myelin sheath. It thickens it, which protects each cell from free radical invasion. When you have the myelin sheath around every cell of your body, whether it's a skin cell, blood cell, bone cell, whatever cell. You know, it's increasing the myelin sheath around every cell of your body, you know, protecting your body from free radical invasion. And, you know, it's the most nutritious grain known to man. Your omega is out of the seed of the plant, you know, or through the roof. You know, you've got the freaking Big Pharma patenting the shit now down in Uruguay, you know, because they want to GMO it and patent it and screw it up, you know, because they want to monopolize on it now. Because these jackasses that are running the show, they're only just now, I mean, that's how stupid they are. You know, they're only just now coming around to it, you know, the benefits, and so now they want, and I mean, it's going to be legalized coast to coast before long.
And it'll be completely GMO.
Because it'll be the GMO shit, you know, so save your seeds, folks, because those things are going to be priceless, worth more than their weight in gold.
And each seed will be a life sentence, probably, they'll probably do, knowing that. They'll do something.
I don't know. I think their days are numbered. They're going out. I mean, the frequency, the vibration is raising, and they can't handle it. They're dying. I mean, look at you know, whoever the hell, what's his face, David Rockefeller. Just, you know, it don't matter how many heart transplants and shit. They're all part and dust. You know. That's why the Masons are so desperate right now. They're desperate for new members because
like the Catholic Church, their membership is dying.
Oh, yeah, because it used to be that you could not, no ifs, ands, or buts, you could not join or become a member unless you had an immediate family member that was of a certain degree, which had to be a father, a brother, an uncle, or a grandfather. Couldn't even be generations removed, you know.
When I was in the Raleigh, when I worked at the Raleigh Hotel in the Catskills up here in South Fallsburg, I got invited to the Knights of Columbus. Now, I didn't know anything about secret societies or anything like that back then. I was 22. It sounded creepy. I didn't join.
Yeah, they're trying. Well, that's your intuition. You know,
I didn't know what it was.
Everyone they can now because they're so desperate with their agenda, and the people are awakening by the droves every day because people like you, people like me, are friends that don't shut up and won't shut up, and you know, it's raising the vibration and the frequency, and they're dying out. They're dying out. You know, there's going to be a big paradigm shift. That's what I believe. That's what I feel. Everything I've ever believed and felt has rung true, so I'm keeping it at that.
Yeah. Well, at this moment, you want to take a break right now? It's 2 minutes away.
Sure.
All right, we'll probably take a 2-song break, and we'll come right back. More Kim Hogan, E PsyhC Radio, y'all.
Right on.
Grabbing it.
Sensing the war, so they walked down to the shelter and turned up at the door. But the sirens kept on ringing every single day, and they thought this nightmare would never go away. Staring at the sky, eyes open wide, it's just bombs and propaganda. We're on your side, now you can try for a tree. But the good times that you had, whatever happened to the bridges of Novi Sad? bridges of mommy's sand. Of mommy said.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to E PsyhC Radio. And the phone's still rolling. And I had to run downstairs and grab another one so we can fix the line just right. Kim, you still with me?
I'm with you.
All right. A little tight room up in here. All right, 2-song break. Now I'm armed with 2 phones and I'm ready to go. And you heard the first part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are tuned in, And wow, this has been quite an interesting show with Kim Hogan. So before we continue on, I just wanted to know, is there anything more you wanted to fill in with before I ask any questions? Does your daughter want to say anything? Does anyone there with you want to say anything?
Corinne, you want to say anything? She's sitting here with me. My daughter's a writer and an artist, and
interesting. That's cool.
yeah, she does kind of a lot of the same kind of, graphic art. Has her eye and stuff like what you're doing, and
okay, great.
very, very creative. Always has been. So, yeah, if anything, positive has come out of this horrific experience. It's gotten her a lot of time to write.
Yeah, that you definitely got to somehow keep a positive outlook. I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I know what I think I'd want to do, but I just know in reality I couldn't dare do any of that. What I would think I'd want to do, because I mean, forget about a lawsuit. I mean, I know what I said in the first half after we got started. I mean,
yeah.
I know how I'd feel. I mean, that would just, I would feel like really tight. Beyond all things, I would feel like seriously tight. I mean, from 2013, you've been battling this. I mean, compared to what you've been battling, compared to what I fought in the beginning, and still kind of on and off fight while I fight other people's battles with radio and media and stuff, I can say severely. I mean, I do my best to be an advocate for mental health from a truther standpoint. Even though some mental health people are kind of brainwashed already, you have to be careful what you say. I've learned that communication with labels, you have to be very cautious in how you present everything you say and tighten down your emotions. Very hard to do when you're emotional. But at the same time, I don't mean to get off topic, but my whole thing got started at age 5. Just briefly, I want to say this. I got kicked out of Catholic school before I even was allowed in. Now, when it got started, I thought, I had the whole Peter Pan philosophy thing stuck inside my mind. I was 5 years old. I was just a kid, I would always say, my name is Ian. I'm 5 years old. I'm staying a boy. Because that's all I thought. That's all I thought. I thought if I believed it, it would happen. That's what I thought. So when I got kicked out of Catholic school, it was church and school in one. So I thought I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. When all I had to do was act like I wasn't paying attention or listening and making stupid ass noises like a 5-year-old would. And if as long as I acted that, oh my goodness, I just got shipped out. I got spammed out before I was even allowed in. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my way to NS School of Portraits. If I maintain the same plan, I could do it again. I'd never have to grow up. That's just a 5-year-old's thinking. Before I knew it, I'm in front of a doctor. I knew I wasn't physically sick. But these were the days where it was still the 80s. You could still get your ass beat in a store and nobody would care. Nobody called the cops like they do now. It wasn't the days like today where a kid could look up at his parents and say, "Fuck you!" Like little David ready to sling his 2 Goliaths or 1, depending if it's a parent or a single parent. No, it wasn't like that back then. You could get your ass beat in front of a psychiatrist and no one would do anything.
Right.
But then, I went in front of a psychiatrist, next thing I'm mentally ill. And it went on ever since. So that's the origin of my mental health story. So when I'm remembering this, and I'm realizing it's like there's no point in telling anybody these things. So when you try to fight for others, you got to remember, you got to be cautious. Because that one little screw up as a 5-year-old cost me my whole damn life.
Yeah.
So when I know that and I understand that, you got to be careful with handling others and dealing with other people's stories because you could hurt them. Being an activist is a very important thing. You don't it's not about being paid, it's about caring.
Right.
So when I say I'm not in this for money, people have a hard time wrapping their mind around that. At any point, whether they know you or don't know you. People just can't grasp it. So go ahead. That was just me.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of brought back a little memory to me, you know, just hearing what you were saying, you know, about the church thing and stuff, I remember getting every Sunday going to church, which I always dragged my feet, didn't want to go. But, you know, the Sunday school portion where they send the kids off, you know, to their age group in Sunday school, I just always had questions that they didn't like me asking.
They never liked that.
And then they would kick me out, and I'd get walked by one of the, you know, church people back out to where all the adults were.
Mm-hmm.
If I was asking questions that they couldn't answer, and they didn't want the other kids wondering the same, you know, questions. So
how dare you make them ponder what they don't want to answer? Thought-provoking, critical thinking. They hate that.
Or that they couldn't answer. So I don't know. I've always had an inquisitive mind, and just some things I was hearing. I had questions, and they couldn't answer, didn't want to answer. I think it was more that they couldn't answer, and, you know, the other kids would hear my questions and be like, yeah, you know, why is that, or what is that, or, you know, so they didn't need that spreading throughout all the kids, so I would just be instantly removed, like, pronto, every Sunday, brought back out to, you know, to my parents.
Thought control.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm not religious. I don't follow any religion, but I'm highly spiritual.
I understand what that's about.
Yeah, I fully believe in, you know, higher power, God, whatever, you know, people want to refer it as, or him as, or, you know, I see that.
The divine creator.
Every day. In fact, I work with that every day. You know, the healing work that I do. You know, I've got a little girl that I've been working on for a few months here now that she is paralyzed. Well, this is what she's been diagnosed as now. Paralyzed, vegetative state, non-recovery. This is what 10 doctors have declared her as here in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introduced to her at the facility I work at. We are a healing center.
Right.
We have an MD, we have a natural doctor, we have acupuncture, we have chiropractic, massage, Reiki. It's a healing center, all modalities of healing. And anyway, I come out from doing a session with one of my patients, and I saw this little girl being wheeled out in a wheelchair from the chiropractor's office, and they were loading her in the van. And the chiropractor came over to our counter, and I asked him, what's the story on her? And he just shrugged his shoulders and tilted his head. He's like, we don't know. And I said, I bet you that was from vaccines. I asked how long she's been in this state. He said he had been working on her approximately 6 months. And I was like, well, how's it going? You know, he's like, she's the same, you know. And he does charity adjustments on her. He adjusts her once a week, and he doesn't charge. And I asked him, do you think the mom would allow me to work on her? I'm being called. I don't know if you want to call it, you know, higher power, guardian angels, guides, whatever. I'm getting like this message in my head to work on her. You need to work on her. And I was just like, I wanted to work on her right then, you know, but of course I couldn't. They're loading her in the van, and she's going home, and I already had a booked schedule for the rest of that day. So I asked our chiropractor to ask the mother, you know, the next time she came in, if it would be okay with her if I worked on her daughter. So the following week he asked the mother, and she just started crying her eyes out. She's like, yes, of course. She's like, I feel like my prayers are being answered. so I saw him after he worked on her, and he told me that the mother agreed, yes, and how grateful she was. He told me how she was crying and feeling like her prayers were being answered. And so I believe it was the following week, we made the arrangements on my day off to where I could work on her. So I did, and I did a combination of Reiki and some hands-on healing massage movements, that I know. I've been doing, healing work professionally for coming up on 20 years now. Anyway, so I started out with her face down on the table. I don't know if you're very familiar with massage tables. There's a face cradle that your face sets in, so that you can lay flat on your stomach, and your face can be in this face cradle, so you don't have to have your neck turned on its, your head on its side, either side. And so I started tuning into the Reiki and doing some Reiki on the little girl, and did some massage techniques on her. And within a matter of, Corinne was with me there. She went to the first session. How long do you think it was until she started moving her hip? Remember, the first thing was her hip raised up? 30 minutes. My daughter says it's about 30 minutes. I lose track of time when I'm healing people.
Yeah.
So within about 30 minutes, my very first session with this vegetative state, non-recovery, blank stare. I mean, we're talking a blank sheet. The eyes, before we got her on the table, there was no interaction with the eyes at all. She wouldn't follow movement or look at anything. It was just a blank stare. And so, it was a blank stare when we got her on the table, So I started working on her. And like my daughter said, within 30 minutes, she started moving. She was moving her hips, raising one hip up. She was moving her shoulders. She started vocalizing. She started moving her feet and her hands. The nurse that is with her nearly 24 hours a day with the mom and her, they all got goosebumps. They were freaking out. The mother was crying, like tears of joy. And then after I finished working on the back side of the little girl, face down on the table, we rotated her over, face up, and I continued the healing session on the, the top of her body, and the blank stare disappeared. We started having like eyes shifting and looking and noticing things in the room and stuff. That was on the very first session I had with this little girl.
Wow.
And so now we are getting emotions out of her. She laughs. She cries. I have a photo that her nurse sent me after my last session with her the other day. They were blown away. They took this picture of her, and she's smiling. She's like, the blank stare is completely gone out of the eyes. You can see it. I'll share it with you after the show. I'll send it to you. But yeah, it's really remarkable, the recovery we're getting with her. And, like I said, 10 doctors, 10 professionals here in Austin, declared her non-recovery vegetative state. And so she's, feeding tube and all this. But now, with the vocalizing going on and the movement and everything, the last session I had with her while she was face down in the face cradle, I had her mom, I bought some, organic lollipops for her. And the mom sat under the table with the lollipop, we're trying to get all 5 senses going again. So touch, taste, smell, all the 5 senses. And,
right.
And then I heard the mom and nurse were saying that her doctors now are wanting to remove the feeding tube and start feeding her orally again. And so this has only been a few months,
Wow.
we're getting major recovery by leaps and bounds with her. And, you know, so there's 3 of us that are working on her. First, of course, the chiropractor. That's how I got introduced to the little girl. Then I started working on her. And then I started researching because I wanted to try acupuncture with her. I'm not an acupuncturist, so I started, you know, asking around and found an acupuncturist that was willing to also donate her time. None of us are charging the parents for this treatment, you know, that we're doing for them. But yeah, so now we have an acupuncturist that also does a session with her about once a week, once every 10 days. But yeah, we're going to continue on, and as long as it takes. I don't know how much recovery we can get with her, how much more. I mean, I'm not going to stop, but she did have 3 brain surgeries after she ended up in this state. She's been in this condition almost exactly a year now, and it happened right after Easter last year, 2 days after Easter, when the kids went back to school. The mom had told me the story that they got up that morning and Camilla did not want to get out of bed. She was complaining that her legs felt weak and like she couldn't walk. And like most parents would think, oh, your kid just doesn't want to go to school today, you know. So she's like, come on, Camilla, no playing around. You got to get to school. Get up, get dressed. So, you know, Camilla got up, got dressed, went to school. The mom told the teachers at the school, you know, she had a hard time getting her motivated that morning that, you know, Camilla didn't want to get out of bed. And so the teacher was aware of the state that Camilla was in that morning, not wanting to be cooperative or whatever in the parents' eyes. And so then recess, lunch, whatever comes around, and it's time for the kids to go outside. And Camilla's still sitting at her desk, and the teacher's like, come on, Camilla, you know, you got to get up, you got to go outside. You know, all the kids were out there. She's like, can I just stay in here with you? My legs. She's complaining about her legs again. And so the teacher, of course, hearing the story about earlier that morning from the mom, thought, you know, Camilla's just playing games and not wanting to be cooperative or whatever, and forced her, you know, to get outside. And so Camilla ended up having seizures at the school, and they called 911. An ambulance took Camilla to Dell Children's Hospital, and Camilla continued the seizing and then went into a coma. And, of course, the mom's gotten the phone call by this time and is rushing to Dell Children's and gets there. She gets there and is greeted with a doctor with a clipboard wanting a signature to approve emergency brain surgery immediately, or otherwise her daughter's going to die. So, of course, the mother signs this paper to get her back there to do the surgery, because no parent wants their kid to die. And the mother was never even explained anything to her with what kind of surgery they're going to perform, what's going on. You know, it was just so rushed, you know, evidently needing to be rushed. I don't know. So anyway, they took Camilla back, did this brain surgery. The very following day, without any recovery, you know, time in between, they did another brain surgery.
Oh, no.
And then 4 days later, they did another brain surgery.
They tried to...
And all of the surgeries, the mother does not know, still to this day, what did they do. The doctors told the mother that they removed cells. Okay, well, we're all made up of cells. So what chunks of the brain did they remove, you know?
Sounds like they removed the brain itself.
Well, I don't know how much of the brain. I asked the mom to get the medical records, and the mom recently got the medical records, and you would be surprised. I saw the box of the medical records and have not had a chance to go through this library yet, And I thought the amount of these medical records are from birth to present day. No, these medical records are only from since this condition, situation happened. And we're talking a 2.5 foot by 2.5. I mean, it's a big box. And the files are shrunk wrapped, different.
Because they don't expect her to know what it is. They don't expect her to know what it is. It's deployed to confuse.
Sorry, what was your question?
No, they don't expect her to know what it is, so it's set up to confuse the mother, to overwhelm her.
Well, the other thing, too, is the language barrier. You know, the mother is Spanish and does not speak much English at all. So, you know, and obviously she's not going to know medical
Oh, I can tell you some stories about doctors and medical records, too, but I won't. But, yeah, I know about that.
Since being introduced to Camilla in her case, I've heard some more horror stories from Dell Children's, but we won't go into that. But anyway, this file, her medical records file, just from this condition and situation that happened, is overwhelming. I mean, we're talking Los Angeles thick phone books, New York phone books. They are huge. They're shrunk wrapped, each file. They're numbered 1 through, I think there's 12 of them, 9 to 12 of them. And I just want to get to the meat and potatoes of it. I want to get to the part of it, of the surgeries and the parts of the brain that they messed with and hacksawed and sliced and diced. That's what I want to know, because I don't know what I'm dealing with. You know, I don't know how much recovery. I know that the brain can heal a lot. Obviously it can, because that's what's happening right now with the treatments that I've been doing on her. I've been detoxing her of heavy metals. We're using cilantro, and then the techniques that I use detox her. But, you know, because my intuition told me from the moment I saw eyes on her, you know, the very first day being loaded into the van, that vaccines were just screaming out in my head. This is from vaccines. And that's what the other doctors believe, you know, from our facility. They all agree, you know, it's got vaccines written all over it for what happened, the seizing and all that stuff.
A lot of these problems with kids from past and present have vaccines written all over it.
And it's so sad because the mom, you know, she blames herself, you know, and these doctors are pretty crummy, man. They're even still to this day telling the mom that she's not going to live very long and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, that is bullshit. I mean, look at the recovery that's going on with this girl. You know, her brain is rewiring. You know, she's having emotions now. She's smelling, she's looking, she's hearing, she's tasting. You know, she's responding to touch, you know. And
you're supposed to
rock her head back and forth, like shaking your head no. You know, she's moving like nearly every part of her body now.
And the sad thing is, our generations from before you, before me, and all that, are taught to trust your doctor when the doctors would come in on home visits and visit you when you were sick. And now it's like your doctor is a drug dealer. They're out to kill you. You can't even trust your doctor because they're just out to sell you a product, and they're drug dealers, and they get away with dealing their drugs, so they'll even use a judge to force you to take it.
Yeah, my daughter's not vaccinated. In fact, I haven't been to a doctor since my final, checkup or whatever you want to call it after labor and delivery of my daughter, who is almost 20. So there you go. I haven't been to a doctor in nearly 20 years and don't intend to go. You know.
Oh shit! New York State, forget it. New York State is MK Ultra hell.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right. But yeah, so I just want to get on and continue doing healing, you know. If this continues and we get major success out of little Camilla, you know, it's going to be nearly impossible to keep this out of the media, especially, a large Hispanic community. I mean, this little girl is going to a big church, and she's very well known, and all of this entire church is seeing miracles of recovery going on. I've met a bunch of the prayer group ladies. They just come and home invade while I'm there working on the little girl. Because I work on her mostly at her home now instead of at our facility, mainly because of my own legal matters, being at the law library and all this stuff, fixing to file my claim.
Yeah.
My normal schedule I first started out with, working on her right after her chiropractic adjustment. I need that day for the law library for myself now. But yeah, I'll keep everybody updated on her too.
Well, we're almost we got 68 minutes left. You mind if I play 2 songs and we just finish the show off?
Sure, yeah, and one thing I would love to do, and much gratitude would be, it'd be overwhelming gratefulness. I want to get some heroes out there that are listening to please mobile billboard your vehicles for my daughter and I, and send me your pictures of your mobile billboard.
Hey, just go ahead and do that.
It would be awesome. And if they don't know what to write for sure, just go to Kim Hogan on Facebook. It's like all over my wall, the pictures of my daughter's car and my truck. And if they can write the same thing, that would be so awesome.
All right. Well, not a problem. All right. And you got that out there, and then I'll just play 2 songs, and we'll come right back.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with more Kim Hogan on E PsyhC Radio, y'all. No, wrong one. Wrong one again, darn it. There I go, pressing buttons all the wrong ways. There we go. Someday I'll learn these buttons right. Now that would be part of this complete breakfast had it been the right time and, well, had I read the right Scooby Snacks.
Photographs of men of the moon. We've got water that is good for us. We've got coffee that's instantaneous. We've got buildings that are very tall. We've got cigarettes that are low and tall. We've got policemen who can't tell us who we are. We can reproduce the work of art. We've got missiles, can't tear the world apart. Good, 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 good technology. Good technology. Got trains that run underground, aeroplanes that fly very fast. We've got music that is popular. We've got machines that sound like orchestra. We've got ability to transplant a heart. We've got freezers full of body parts. We've got computers that can find us friends. We know roughly when the world will end. Good, 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 good technology. Good technology. Animals with transistors in. We've got pills that can make us live. We've got factories turning frozen chickens out. We've got ovens that cook in seconds flat. We've got plastics that are indestructible. We've got deodorants that make us smell of flies. We've got detergents to clean up the sea. We've got sounds that can tear us inside out. Sometimes I wonder what it is all about. There's lots of leisure time to sit and work it out. There's a TV show I've got to see. Good, 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 good technology. Good technology. Good
Alright, I can do without the chorus. I'm about to get screamed at. My mom and my neighbor is about to scream upstairs in a minute. So, yeah, good technology. Not when it's about to get me yelled at. So, welcome back, Kim. So, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely an old song. I was just saying to you on the phone, I probably got heard by the microphone. When he said that MTV show, damn it, I can't even speak now. That MTV show I gotta see, I don't think he was talking about reality TV. That definitely sounded like an old song. He had to have been talking about music videos, because that sounded like a music video MTV song I just heard. I don't even know who that was. But anyway, good music though.
Yeah, it sounded familiar. I can't place it either.
I can't place it because I probably don't know it. I was born in 1980. But anyway, welcome back to E PsyhC Radio, and I think we're about to wrap it up. And well, just in a few, because we have it's 77 and change, ready to wrap up the show. It's 102:54 and going and counting, ready to wrap up the show and counting. So, anything you'd like to say going on to end it?
Yeah, I think Corinne wanted to say a couple things here. Go for it, Corinne.
Go for it.
I just want to say thank you so much for helping us get this story out there and or help stop it from happening to anyone else, and just to have it known to more people. Spread the word. Thank you so much.
Well, Corinne, we at Last Voice of Liberty Network are very thankful to help others and do our part in making sure that these things don't happen again. And I'm thankful very much to have been the one to call it fate, call it karma, call it God, call it what you want. I'm just thankful to be chosen to help you. So it's an honor to have been chosen to help you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're just ready for it to be all over with, so we can give back. This has taken up a lot of our time and energy, and has prevented us from giving back, and doing, what we do,
Right on.
Having to put in twice as many hours a week, making half the amount of money, that I was accustomed to,
Mm-hmm.
and breaking my back doing it. I mean, I carry an emergency spinal analysis emergency card in my wallet in case I'm ever in an accident, because I've got my own spinal injuries, and it would sure be nice, to get back to having a home with a home office and not having to work as much, to be able to give back in other ways, to society, and continue waking up people to the truth and facts, and
I'm very thankful and honored to get your story out there. Feel free to put your information out on my personal Facebook page, and anything else you need, you know who to contact, and feel free to post some stuff on Last Voice of Liberty Network Facebook page. We actually have one, and anything else you need, I'm a phone call away, an inbox away. Anything else you need, you know what to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to doing a follow-up, update show after it's all resolved. And
I look forward to hearing from you.
The good news.
Oh, that's great. I would love to be the one to be in on that and talking to you about that. I would love to see that get resolved very soon.
Yeah, I would really like to do that.
All right, so
I look forward to it. I feel it won't be too much longer away.
Well, all we can do is hope and pray, and let's depend on the fact that will go down just like that, and we'll see some smiling faces over there.
Right. We're manifesting it and making it happen.
All right, then. Well, is that all? No?
I think so.
Anything more from Corinne?
What was that?
Anything more from Corinne, by any chance?
Corinne? Do you want to say hi to your friends listening?
I do have friends listening. I do want to shout out to them and thank them for being around through all of this and dealing with my chaotic of with so much crap and moving. And I have incredible friends and an incredible support group, which I think is what's kept me on a level playing through all of this. And so I just want to shout out to them for being there for me and just being the best friends I could ever ask for.
And I want to shout out to those gals, too, my daughters 2.0. I'll
Yes.
visit soon again, y'all.
You have anything else you want to give a shout out to, Kim Hogan?
Yeah, I believe I've got a good friend out there listening tonight that I actually did a session on earlier, and very helpful, very grateful for this person in my life. It's been a huge support system and a very good friend. I don't want to mention names because he's a little too well known and
I understand.
the vicinity here, and we want to keep that private, but very,
That's all right.
very cool person.
All right.
Yeah, and once again, mobile billboards, folks. Mobile billboards and lots of pictures.
Not a problem. And on that note, on behalf of everyone who listens to our network at Last Voice of Liberty Network and E PsyhC Radio, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Kim Hogan, your daughter Krim, and all those friends, family, who are very dear to your hearts, who have supported you, who have backed you, who have been behind you 100%, and to all of our beloved friends and family and network lovers, owners, hosts, love you much. Thank you for bringing us back on E PsyhC Radio. Thank you very much, and we are out. And here's our intro again, because we have picked it together on this night. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night, my peeps.